we are at the home of the #1 team in the country, the South Carolina Gamecocks, on their home floor in Columbia to take on a very good Arkansas team. Carolina undefeated, Arkansas 17 wins, 4-2 in the SEC. And Michaela Daniels getting ready to go after a big week for her and her Arkansas teammates. We take you back to Monday. Arkansas playing at home against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt tied it in the final seconds, but Arkansas wasn't done. Michaela Daniels with the launch at the buzzer, and it was a win for Arkansas. Then Thursday, on the road at LSU, fell behind early. Arkansas led in the fourth quarter, down by 3 at the final seconds, but they couldn't get that one to go. But they gave undefeated LSU a run for their money. Eric Freed, Christy Thomas-Scuddy with you here courtside in Columbia. The reward for Arkansas is taking on the #1 team in the country here today, and that is a tough challenge for any team. And what do the Razorbacks have to look at here today?
Well, they've got to be able to slow down South Carolina with their defense, and they must limit South Carolina to one shot at the basket.
That has been a challenge for most teams because Aaliyah Boston and her teammates, South Carolina, this team, dominant on the glass.
Aaliyah Boston already 6 double-doubles on the season. South Carolina as a team rebounds 49% of their misses. Aaliyah Boston, 20% of her shots on the season are off of second chance opportunities because she pursues the ball so well. She tracks. You must be so disciplined to keep a body on Aaliyah Boston at all times. If not, she's going to make you pay.
Top 5 in the country in offensive rebounds a game, and they are #2 to LSU in rebounding margin. On average, 21 more boards a game, and a little bit of history potentially here for Aaliyah Boston. She is tied for the top spot all time at South Carolina in double-doubles with 72 with Sheila Foster. So she steps to the court here today trying to set a new standard in South Carolina history. And as we've come to expect but never take for granted, 12,000 plus on hand here at Colonial Life Arena. Loud and ready to go to root on South Carolina taking on Arkansas, and the opening tip is controlled by the #1 team in the country.
We'll expect some man-to-man on both ends of the floor today, but as we've come used to, a sagging man-to-man against these Gamecocks.
Zaya Cook finds Aaliyah Boston, who knocks down the first points of the game with the mid-range jumper. Starting 5 for Arkansas. Sailor Poffenbarger is their leading rebounder. Samara Spencer, top 10 in the SEC in scoring and assists. Michaela Daniels, top 5 in the SEC in three-point shooting. They love the three. They are good from outside the arc, and Chrissy Carr knocks down her 48th three-pointer of the season. Familiar starting 5 now for South Carolina. Zaya Cook leading the team in scoring. Boston in the last 5 averaging 16 points, 11 rebounds, and shooting 69% from the field. Bree Beal now back into Boston, and Cook's got an open look for 3. .36% from outside the arc for Zaya Cook. She's made 36 threes now on the season.
And Arkansas wants to bring the bigs of South Carolina away from the basket. Mike Neighbors said our bigs have to make anywhere from 4 to 5 threes for us to have a chance this afternoon.
Last touched by Arkansas as Daniels got in there on the glass. Well, you saw Aaron Barnum, who's having an outstanding season, one of the most improved players in the SEC, try it from outside. There's Saxton trying to drive on Poffenbarger. Good strong drive, just won't drop, but there is Boston on the glass, and she'll go to the line. Dawn Staley's team coming off a win over Vanderbilt on Thursday night. They won by 48. They had a 10-0 run to close the first quarter to improve to 19-0 on the season, one of 3 undefeated teams in SEC play, and #1 in the AP poll for a 30th straight week. That's tied for 4th best all-time with UConn for longest streaks in the history of the AP poll.
I feel like I should give a public service announcement because I said to Dawn today, I said, it looks like your team is more connected on both ends of the floor. She goes, oh yeah, we're getting better and better each passing day.
She was nodding before you even finish the question, you can tell that is a key thing for her, how this team is coming together. And they've been good from the start of the season. We saw what happened against Stanford and Maryland, playing some tough non-conference games, but they continue to build and get better and be more connected. That's Barnum on the drive. Count it and one. Aaron Barnum, a chance for a three-point play.
Well, Mike Neighbors told us in some ways this was the best possible matchup because South Carolina reminds him so much of LSU. And what did Arkansas do against LSU? Spread the floor and let Aaron Barnum get to the rim. There, draws the foul.
Barnum's doubled her numbers better than that, actually, from a year ago. 16 points a game to lead the team, 6th in the conference. I know one of the things that you were watching for here early is how Arkansas responds after such a challenging week. They played Monday, a game that went to the wire. They played in a very tough environment at LSU Thursday, a game that went to the wire. They had travel issues getting out of Baton Rouge. They couldn't get out Thursday night. Mike Neighbors' team, they had troubles with the plane, so they had to leave Friday to go to Fayetteville, and now they're here on a Sunday afternoon to take on South Carolina.
Well, the good news is the Arkansas women got to go shopping, so I think that rejuvenated them. But absolutely, it's hard to play 2 games in a week, much less 3, and then face the quality of opponent that Arkansas has. But hey, this is why you play the game. It is to come into a packed house like this today and try for the upset.
After playing in front of a packed house on Thursday, trying to pull the upset, taking on the number 3 team in the country and the number 1 team in the country on the road in back-to-back games. That is a lot to ask of this Arkansas team. Here's Sexton. Good move inside for Victoria Sexton.
Well, Eric, already 2 offensive rebounds for South Carolina, 4 second-chance points, and Mike Neighbors told us we don't have a chance today if we cannot keep them off the glass.
Great 1-2 punch in the backcourt here for Arkansas with Spencer and Daniels, and it's Barnum challenging Boston, who gets called for the personal. One thing that has not changed for Arkansas, they try to get to the line. They're very good at getting to the free throw line, and you can see the difference in their wins and losses. Now, keep in mind, 2 of their 4 losses have come against LSU. They've already played LSU twice.
Absolutely. And Eric, the thing that sticks out to me in that graphic is the rebound margin. I'm not saying they have to win the boards today, but they've got to keep it close. And I think this is where South Carolina has just been so good this season. Consistently, it's not that first shot, but it is the second and third. And we know how much depth the Gamecocks have. They just wear on you to where by that fourth quarter, they're just getting anything and everything they want on both ends of the floor.
There's a stoppage here, and Dee Cantner is checking her whistle, and
I think it popped off the lanyard. She can't get it on.
They've got the special purple whistles to honor We Back Pat, and
I just need everybody to see this.
Chance to break into.
No, coaches helping officials. It's one big happy family right now.
Do you want to check Vegas with the odds on how long that will last here? Barnum 1 of 2 at the free throw line. 2-point lead in the opening minutes here in Columbia for the home team. Cook with the kick. Kiara Fletcher couldn't get it, and Barnum with the save for Arkansas.
And what I loved about that is Barnum boxed Aaliyah Boston out first, then went after that rebound.
Chrissy Carr has unlimited range and showing it in the early going. Knocked down 3 threes against LSU. She has 2 here early, and Arkansas is in front. Cook on the pull-up. That's where she is so good. Zaya Cook with an early 5.
I'll be eager to see if Arkansas continues to play the on-ball screen that way, because if Zaya Cook can get downhill and get 2 feet in the paint, as you said, Eric, that is when she's at her best.
Barnum off the mark. Fed in deep. Boston, not once, but there's always a second chance if Aaliyah Boston is involved. Count it and the foul.
Eric, this is what I was talking about in the open. You have to be so disciplined when you defend Aaliyah Boston. That first shot, you can't get caught watching the shot. You have to immediately assume a miss and get into that box out. Otherwise, Aaliyah Boston's going to do what we've seen her do throughout her career, and that's own the glass.
4 straight double-doubles for Boston, and she is trending towards another one right now. Finishes off the three-point play. Good, strong take. That is Samara Spencer, freshman of the year in the SEC last year. There's been nothing close to a sophomore slump this year, averaging 15 points a game. Saxton has it stripped away, and it'll be Arkansas ball. Substitutions here for Arkansas. Miriam Dowda coming off a very good game against LSU. Went for 11 points, which matched her career high. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks in 13 minutes. Boston checks out. Cardoso comes on for South Carolina. Riley Langerman into the game as well for Arkansas.
Well, and as much as we talk about the stars and the stars in this game, I think the benches for both these teams are going to be huge. We know South Carolina comes in averaging 40 points on the bench each game, but the bench for Arkansas has got to give them some quality minutes.
Miriam Dowda was in the game for a matter of seconds before she pulled from deep, and it almost dropped.
I think Dowda's starting to come into her own, coming off that knee injury.
Do you think Zia Cook knew that was down a split second after her left her hand? I mean, she did a 360 and started jogging up the court and took a peek back just to make sure.
Well, I don't know if the fans knew it was going down or if the fans were reacting to Zia, because before the ball went in the net, the fans were applauding.
On the roll to the basket, Dowda is run over by Cardoso, who helps Dowda up. And that would get us to a media timeout. So when you've made as many shots as Zia Cook has in her 4-year South Carolina career, you know it feels good off the hands.
Well, repetition, 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 and Zia Cook is repetition of the basket going in.
Carolina on top by 5 already with 7 second chance points. Key number that we'll be tracking as we go along here today, as Arkansas will put it into play out of the first media timeout.
Well, out of bounds executions is an area that I think Arkansas's got to steal some points.
Daniels. Raven Johnson into the game. Daniels can't knock down the 3, and Saxton's got a rebound. And Daniels so good defensively, quick hands. She'll pick your pocket. We've seen that a time or two during her great career. Dowda's going to try again. 0 for 2 from outside the arc, and here comes Johnson across half court. We welcome those of you who watch Memphis knock off Cincinnati. We're in Columbia, South Carolina. We're the #1 team in the country. The South Carolina Gamecocks have an early 5-point lead over the Arkansas Razorbacks. Eric Freed, Christy Thomas-Scuddy, and our crew here at Colonial Life Arena in front of a loud full house to watch South Carolina take on Michaela Daniels in Arkansas. Daniels, the hero for Arkansas on Monday with their buzzer beater a few steps inside of half court to knock off Vanderbilt. She brings Arkansas within 2 here in the first quarter. Victoria Saxton will try it from outside. That won't drop, but this is where South Carolina has a big advantage because they're big. Camila Cardoso at 6'7" gets another second chance opportunity to go for South Carolina.
Eric, yes, they're big, but what I've already seen a couple of times by Arkansas is they're trying to be big. And what I mean by that is a shot goes up, they're walling up, and they're staying vertical versus boxing out. They've got to keep South Carolina off, and maybe you even go chest to chest to keep them from getting the offensive rebound.
That's Zia Cook, who drops it inside to Cardoso, got tied up by Chrissy Carr, and a jump ball will give possession to Arkansas. Aaliyah Boston getting the start here today, of course, but Dawn Staley has such a deep bench that she'll rotate players in and out. Boston, a good start, trying to track down some history. She's got 7 points and 3 rebounds. She has 72 career double-doubles, tied for the all-time record with Sheila Foster here at South Carolina. And we have not seen a lot of Aaliyah Boston recently because she's averaging on the season 23 minutes a game. This is a South Carolina team 19-0. They've won 25 in a row, and Dawn Staley has been very, very consistent using the bench. Oh, good cut and a good recovery by the freshman into the game for South Carolina. Ashlyn Watkins with the defense, and then a turnover for South Carolina.
Eric, South Carolina is so good defensively. Why? Because they've got rim protectors averaging 10 blocks a game, and you just saw Watkins own up and, more importantly, maintain control of that block and get them out running.
South Carolina had 14 blocks in their win Thursday against Vanderbilt. Daniels with the step-back three. That won't drop, and Dowda won't get there in time. It'll be Gamecocks basketball. It really is amazing. Last year, South Carolina led the country at 7.5 blocks a game. They're better than 2 blocks a game above that average from last year to lead the country again this season.
South Carolina has 4 of the top 10 shot blockers in the SEC. That's how good they are in terms of protecting that rim. And I asked Dawn about that today. I said, how does that help you? She said it allows my guards to play freely on the perimeter defensively and try to disrupt more because she knows they've got help behind them.
As a result, Dawn Staley's team #1 in the country in field goal percentage defense at 29%. And here is Letitia Amihir at the free throw line. Foul on Riley Langerman was her first. These are two teams that would like to be a little bit better at the free throw line. South Carolina 68%, that's 8th in the conference. Arkansas 65%, 12th in the conference. But if you're going to miss and then end up still getting 2, as that's how it worked out for South Carolina's Watkins, you're going to be okay. You're on top by 6, Arkansas ball.
There's never a reason you should give up an offensive rebound at the free throw line to your opponent because you've got the numbers down there, and that's just the will of South Carolina and not a good quality box out. But, Eric, the matchup I'm enjoying right now since she's come on the floor is Raven Johnson against Michaela Daniels. Speed on speed there, and I think Raven Johnson's truly coming into form for the Gamecocks.
Langerman, good hustle play to keep it alive for Arkansas. Here's that Daniels-Johnson matchup as Barnum is fouled by Amihir on the drive. Well, you were going to keep track of the rebounding, and right now it's not a pretty picture for Arkansas, as South Carolina is a +11 in rebounding margin. They have 7 offensive rebounds, and that Langerman offensive rebound there was the first one for Arkansas.
And Eric, more importantly, 11 second chance points. So it's one thing to get the second chance opportunity, but right now, credit South Carolina because they're converting them into points.
If you are just joining us, Arkansas played a thriller on Monday against Vandy, game that was won at the buzzer by Michaela Daniels. Then they went to LSU and took LSU to the limit. They were the first team to have a lead on the Tigers this season in the fourth quarter, but LSU pulled it out to stay undefeated. But Mike Neighbors' team wasn't done. They had travel issues getting out of Baton Rouge, so they didn't get home till Friday afternoon. Then they were up here last night, and now they're taking on the #1 team in the country. 3 games in 7 days only starts to tell the story for Arkansas this week.
It really is. I mean, I asked him, I said, Mike, what did you do to get the schedule that you got for this week? He said,
well,
I wondered the same thing.
Who did you upset
Yeah.
is really what you were trying to get to, yes.
But I do like the silver lining that he looked at. He said, hey, in terms of prep, LSU and South Carolina are so similar in terms of their bigs, and the #1 thing we have to do, and I finished it for him, keep them off the glass. And he said, yes. He said, again, nothing else matters in this game if we can't limit South Carolina on the glass.
Foul on Watkins was her first as Barnum comes through at the free throw line. 6 points early for Aaron Barnum. Amihir. Looking inside for Cardoso. Amihir will earn a trip to the free throw line.
Amihir is just so smooth. We talked about it before the game even started. She's just that utility player that Dawn Staley puts in any way imaginable in every game, and her role changes almost game to game because that's how versatile this young lady is.
Give you an idea how balanced the scoring is. She's tied for 4th in scoring off the bench at 7 points a game. This is a South Carolina team that averages better than 82 points a game. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists in the win against Vanderbilt on Thursday. Give you an idea what Christy was talking about. And well-balanced player.
And with this lineup, when Dawn Staley puts Raven Johnson on the floor with Camila Cardozo, she likes to extend to this full-court pressure.
Spencer gets it back from Barnum. Spencer now with Johnson on the swish. Entry pass, Barnum, defended by Cook. Wolfenbarger, shot clock to 2-1, and Wolfenbarger had to pull the trigger, and Cardoso's got it. Johnson to Cook, to a me here, foul by Langerman.
Shot selection so important for Arkansas because those long rebounds allow South Carolina to get out in transition. That time, Jersey Wolfenbarger had to put it up, but you saw how quickly South Carolina advances the ball with very few dribbles.
That's 2 personal fouls on Riley Langerman as Ami here steps back to the free throw line. Men's College Hoop, big Monday doubleheader, ESPN and also on the app. Duke on the road in Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. That's at 7 Eastern time. Then it's on to Waco. Baylor taking on a Kansas team that is all of a sudden reeling just a little bit after a couple of losses. Kansas State and TCU. That's coming up tomorrow. 8-point lead for Carolina. Arkansas will hold for 1 with about a second between the shot clock and the game clock. Spencer, back out to Barnum. Got Cardoso in the air, but look at Cardoso recover. And then the ball is off a foot and out of bounds, and it will be South Carolina basketball, 2.5 to go. The long arm of Cardoso reaching out, and that will do it for Zia Cook and South Carolina. And South Carolina on top by 8 at the end of 1. It is We Back Pat time, and a great conversation today with Dawn Staley. We'll tell you about what she told us when we come back.
Our next big project is to help the caregivers, and we're going to have a game book, game plan. Pat would like the game plan because it's going to make a difference in their lives.
As a caregiver, patience is the key word. You have to be super patient. You have to keep reminding yourself that, these people are not doing this on purpose. They have a disease.
Of course, all week in the SEC honoring Pat Summitt, her legacy, which includes the Pat Summitt Foundation. Dawn Staley's mother, Estelle, had dementia. She passed away in 2017, and we had a conversation with Dawn today just about the process and what happens, and also from a point of view of a caregiver, which Dawn was. Her mother was living with her for a while. Dawn had to see how her mother was handling life and just saw as she was not becoming the Estelle Dawn knew, but someone that Dawn still loved and had to care for, because that person is in there, and that is the hardest thing about memory care and those who are taking care of those who are suffering from memory loss. And I thought Dawn was just very interesting, just recounting what the process with her mother, but also just, she used that word, patience. You have to be patient, you have to be kind when you're dealing with someone who's not the same person who, in Dawn's case, raised her, because dementia, Alzheimer's changes what happens.
I mean, it's just a different dynamic when that occurs. And we asked Dawn, what's the best advice you could give to support a caregiver? And she said, give of your time. They just need that break, even if it's an hour. And so for all of us that have the time and ability, let's support the caregivers, because they definitely need it, as does the Pat Summitt Foundation.
And Dawn realized, too, that she couldn't be the primary caregiver for her mother as Johnson hits. Miss Rosemary stepped into Dawn and Estelle's life to help care for Estelle, still in touch with Miss Rosemary, according to Dawn. So it's amazing when you think of it, too. There's over 11 million unpaid caregivers. That's spouses, children, family who are taking care of most of the daily care for someone who's suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's disease. So it's out there in the Pat Summitt Foundation, as you heard as we came back from break. That's going to be a focus as Johnson gets called for dragging the pivot foot to try to help those who are helping loved ones who are going through dementia, Alzheimer's, and memory loss. So we appreciate Dawn for spending time with us, just going through that history, because it is hard. It is hard to go through it and watch it happen.
She was just real and very honest and forthcoming, and I feel like in some ways she could have just kept talking about it, because it was great memories of her own mother. And so I can't thank Dawn enough for sharing those special moments with us today.
10-point lead for Staley's team. Aaliyah Boston in the game, defending Barnum. Here's Carr, knocked down a couple of threes in the first. Carr with a beautiful drive, but it won't drop. Johnson threads the needle to Beal, who is fouled. So Arkansas missed their last 7 field goal attempts of the first quarter. It's an 0 for 10 slide right now for the Razorbacks, as that defense, and as you look at the free throw line, there's one of the elite defenders of all of women's college basketball, Bree Beal, stepping to the stripe.
Well, Eric, the first quarter, if you're Arkansas, you feel pretty good about it. But here's the stats that pop off to me. South Carolina shot 33% on their first shot opportunity. On their second and third, up to 67%. That's what I mean. The first shot's not going to kill you against the Gamecocks. It is that second and third. Arkansas's got to find a way to limit the offensive rebounds by South Carolina.
And they got to make shots on the other end. That won't drop for Carr. That's 11 straight misses. And here comes Amie here with speed. Amie here all the way to the basket for 2.
No one stopped ball. And that is how quickly South Carolina can get the ball down the floor off of a miss.
Spencer tried to give it up to Barnum, and it was deflected out of play. Arkansas ball.
Letitia Amir here gets the rebound, and she recognizes very quickly no one's stopping ball, so she's got her eyes on the rim, takes it coast to coast. Eric, this is a subtle thing for South Carolina. When we talk about their defense, it's not the shot blocks. To me, it's their one-on-one containment. Dribble drive offense for Arkansas. They can't consistently get a step on their defender, which is why they're struggling to create. Well, except for Erin Barnum on that possession.
She took it right at Aaliyah Boston. So a strong play by Barnum to slow down the momentum for the moment for South Carolina. Now can they get a stop on this end? Boston ducks inside for 2. 9 points for Boston to go along with 4 rebounds.
I was going to say, we talk about the basketball skill of Aaliyah Boston. How about the IQ there? Knew the double was coming and just carried it through so no one could get to the ball and scored.
Another one deflected out of play by South Carolina. Arkansas ball.
Erin Barnum, back-to-back games, going against 2 of the best posts in the league, and she is showing out, getting to the rim. And then Aaliyah Boston answers on the other end, puts it on the floor, knows the double's coming from the top side, so just gathers through to keep the ball away from that help defense.
Beal defending Daniels. Daniels tries to use her speed. Shot clock down to 1. And the officials are going to count it, but they will go to the monitor, so we'll play on.
You're hearing the grumbling from the Gamecock fans right now. What's going on?
And now a whistle. Barnum's going to get called for the foul. A couple things Dee Kantner may want to look at right here when they go to the monitor. Did she get the shot off? I don't think she did. Or did she? That's going to be close. And I was watching the clock, I got to be honest. You're my eyes for the three-point line. Foot on the line or no?
Oh, I was watching the clock too.
Oh,
Sorry, partner.
I thought we talked about that pregame.
I thought I was offense. You were defense. Oh, my bad.
Garrett Fletcher back into the game for South Carolina. Sexton. You can see how Arkansas will drop back with Sailor Poffenbarger. And a foul called on Arkansas on the drive. All right, so let's go back. Feet. 2 on the shot clock. 1 step back. That's a clean 3, but is it still in her hand?
I thought it was still in her hand.
I thought so too. They'll check it during the media timeout. Right now, it's an 11-point game, but that could change. Zia Cook. Chance to get back into double figures. Went for a team-high 17 against Vandy on Thursday in Nashville. 6 of 12 from the field. She's got 10 first-half points here this afternoon. Perfect 3 for 3 from the field. 2 for 2 from the line. Spencer got half a step. Fletcher, who's a sneaky good defender, trying to show off a little offense here, and she'll go to the free throw line.
fouls are starting to pile up for Arkansas. You've got Barnum on the bench now with 2 fouls. Michaela Daniels with 2 fouls. Langerman with 2 fouls.
Arkansas is going to take a timeout. Right now, it's a 13-point lead for South Carolina. Second quarter here in Columbia. All right, Kelsey, thanks very much. Happy birthday, Carolyn. And this is not the birthday present that Arkansas was looking for. They have 3 points fewer than they did before we went to break because they did go to the monitor. The shot was after the shot clock, so take the 3 for Poffenbarger off the board. Rebounds, Christy Thomas-Goody. Rebounds.
You see it there, 24-5, and it's the 11 second chance points for South Carolina. That's the difference, or part of the difference in this game so far.
You know, Drea was talking about Zia Cook defensively. That's something we were talking about during the break as Carr can't hit. How, you know, you talk so much about the shot blocking, but the quickness of the Carolina guards here against Arkansas has really stood out to you.
So for a dribble drive offense to work, which is what Arkansas is running, you've got to get a step on your defender, and that's the thing. Minus Spencer, no one else has really been able to consistently get a step on their defender, and credit everybody around the perimeter for South Carolina. This is what I say, this defense is even better than what we saw a year ago because Don Staley's got 5 players who are connected so well on the defensive end right now.
Boston into double figures with 11. Spencer. And then a foul is going to be called, I believe, on Fletcher. Be the first team foul on South Carolina this quarter.
Zia Cook knew that Aaliyah Boston had a better matchup there, and this is the strength of Aaliyah Boston. Knows that Dowda might have the length, but takes her down to negate the size disadvantage, which we don't get to say very often with Aaliyah Boston, and powers it up.
Talked about it before. Aaliyah Boston, last 5 games, shooting 69% from the field. She's at 80% so far from the floor in this game. There's Cook trying to knock it away from Daniels. You can tell when Arkansas gets close, you're just assuming there's going to be a shot blocker nearby, and maybe they just get it up on the rim a little quicker than they want to. Bree Beal for 3. Arkansas has been outscored 17-2 here in the second quarter.
Well, Arkansas is getting to the rim. The problem is they're so sped up and trying to get the shot off so they're not converting. 3 of 8 on layups so far in the game.
Carr, deep 3. Won't drop, and Beal's got it. Inside of 4 to go before halftime. Beal on the drive, ran into a wall, and they say it's last touched by Arkansas.
What's really the tale of this game? Michaela Daniels gets to the rim, just too hard off the glass, and a missed layup. South Carolina is out and running. Bree Beal spotting up to knock it down.
South Carolina now 3 for 4 from outside the three-point line. They came into the game at 31% as Beal will check out. Bree Hall into the game for South Carolina. Cook on the baseline, out of bounds play. Stays perfect. 4 for 4 from the field.
And Eric, that's a play Arkansas went through its shoot around this morning. They knew it was coming. South Carolina, just beautiful execution.
Cardoso with the steal. Off to Cook. Cook, wild shot, and it almost dropped. If she went 5 for 5, I probably would have just taken off the headset saying, Christy, you take it the rest of the way because we're not going to top that. She wanted
was disappointed it didn't go in. Look at this athleticism. Little razzle-dazzle dipsy-do, and man, I thought I had it.
That would have been SportsCenter top 10, no doubt number 1, but instead it's a couple of free throws. Cook at the free throw line. The fact that she is leading the team in scoring, we've seen it time and again, Kristen, you've talked about, well, how do you beat South Carolina? And teams are like, well, you got to try to take away Aaliyah Boston and pack the lane. So that has opened things up for Zia Cook, and she has delivered.
You know, what I see as much is her decision-making. I thought a year ago if someone sagged off, she felt like she had to take the shot from the outside. She now trusts her basketball instinct. She's getting to the rim. She's getting good looks, high percentage looks, and she's converting.
15 unanswered points. Spencer gets it to drop and ends the run. So So Spencer's been held in check so far. She's got 4 points, averaging better than 15 a game. Langerman back on the floor with the 2 personals. Defending Cook. Zia Cook. It almost looked like she thought about it for a split second, and then she reminded herself, I'm Zia Cook, and I haven't missed today.
She's shaking her head as she goes down the floor like, I'm feeling it.
17 for Cook. Oh, good take by Spencer, won't drop. And here's Johnson, 2.5 to go, first half. Johnson on the pull-up. Boston had it blocked, scramble for the basketball. That's Bree Hall at the bottom of the pile. And it will stay with South Carolina.
Eric, there's feeling it, and then there's Zia Cook here this afternoon. Langerman closes out short. Those hands aren't quite up. Zia Cook says, I'm going to make you pay.
Zia Cook. Timeout is called here in Columbia. Back in 30. Big lead for South Carolina. Another full house here at Colonial Life Arena. Making some noise here as their South Carolina Gamecocks on a Sunday afternoon have pushed it out to a 28-point first half lead.
Eric, you know I'm a sports fan, and I got to say to anybody out there who's not attended a game here at Colonial Life Arena, it needs to be on your bucket list. I had goosebumps just then when Sandman was playing. Tremendous atmosphere here.
Cardoso couldn't get it, and here comes Spencer. Johnson back defensively. Dauda takes it at Cardoso. That won't drop. And a rebound again for South Carolina. Bree Hall. Hall, good defense by Sailor Poffenbarger, who has been very busy. She had a lot of Angel Reese duty on Thursday and vice versa.
Well, that's at least the second time she's gotten her hands on a shot attempt by South Carolina. I think Sailor Poffenbarger brings so much toughness to this Arkansas Razorback program. Great scorer, we know, but tremendous defender, good on the glass, high basketball IQ.
3 double-doubles this year, leading the team in rebounding. Cardoso and Hall were standing there as Spencer put it up, and the ball came down in play. Cook rejected by Jersey Wolfenbarger. So some good defensive plays for Arkansas.
That was a great job by Wolfenbarger because she knew she had the height advantage, so she didn't try to go to the body of Zia Cook, let Zia Cook come to her and got the block.
Johnson returns it to Boston. Another good job by Arkansas defensively, but too many options for South Carolina. Cardoso with the follow. She's got 4. Dauda and 1. Miriam Dauda a chance to finish off a 3-point play. Let's take you back to the other end.
Well, Aaliyah Boston steps in and gets position, and you see Dauda come with a double team, and that's why Cardozo was open. Ryan Langerman just a step late on the rotation, leaving Cardozo wide open for that 2.
Johnson with the first personal foul. Second quarter scoring. Arkansas 3 of 14. South Carolina 8 of 14. So Dauda with the 3-point play. Here's a me here. Final minute, second quarter. Cook, not this time. But guess what? Second chance here for South Carolina. No reset of the shot clock. They said it did not catch rim. So me here takes it to the basket. No, guess what? Cardoso, no. Cook is now fighting inside. Yes. Shot clock is off. Me here defending Spencer. Spencer back out top. Dauda tries for 3. Nope. And that will be how the half comes to an end. Aaliyah Boston trying to set a new double-double record at South Carolina. 11 points. There's 1 box check, 6 rebounds. So she's tracking down another double-double. Rebounds a huge story. Plus 31 for South Carolina at halftime. Back to the studio we go. Kelsey, Drea, and happy 39th birthday, Carolyn. We Back Pat Week continues here in Columbia, South Carolina. Getting ready to start the second half. Number 1 South Carolina taking on Arkansas as we welcome you back to the SEC on ESPN. Quite a half for the Gamecocks. They put 53 on the board. They're on top by 29 as we get ready for the third quarter. Eric Freed, Christy Thomas-Scuddy back with you courtside here. And really, we have seen this before with South Carolina getting out to a big lead. And they're able to sustain it time and again because they have so many players they can throw at you.
So many versatile players. And bottom line is the Gamecocks can beat you in so many different ways. The key in that first half, they dominated the glass. And when they weren't doing that, Zia Cook went to work. 6 of 8 from the field. 3 of 4 from deep. Eric, 19 points and only 16 minutes of action. She was efficient, she was effective, and she was on fire.
Cook leading the way with those 19 points. Aaliyah Boston with 11 points. And Zia Cook, who's upped her numbers in SEC play, is above her SEC average at halftime. Original starting fives out there for each team. 8th time this year that Carolina has led by at least 25 at halftime. Beal. The floater won't drop. There's Victoria Sexton looking for the putback. The numbers that jumped out were the rebounding. It's something that you talked about right from the top of the telecast. South Carolina was plus 31 in rebounding margin in the first half. They had 14 offensive rebounds. Arkansas had a total of 7 rebounds.
Absolutely, and I'll go back to it. In the first half, South Carolina shot 44% from the field, which is good on first shots, but it was the second and third where they shot 55%. South Carolina's too good. You can't give them that second and third opportunity.
Foul on Poffenbarger as Sexton delivers at the free throw line. She's got 4. All right, if you're Arkansas, Christy, you're facing a big deficit on the road, number 1 team in the country. You're coming off 2 emotional games. I don't think you can understate that, what happened this week, the win over Vanderbilt and then the game at LSU. What's the game plan? What's the message from Mike Neighbors to his team as they come on the floor here?
I think we're not playing the scoreboard whatsoever. This is a reset, and I would have reminded them of what the goal is. This is an Arkansas program that's never finished in the top 4 in the SEC. We are building for the rest of the season. So let's just look to execute, and more importantly, let's try to limit South Carolina to 1 shot.
Daniels, Barnum will try for 3. That won't go. Well, you bring up a really good point because it has never happened for Arkansas. They have not finished in the top 4, and the top 4 teams get the bye in the SEC tournament, double bye, which is very important. And they are a team, when you look at it, they're 4-2. They have played LSU twice. They're playing South Carolina here today. They have played the hardest part of their schedule in the first half of the season. This is a team that you should certainly consider, and you think they can be one of those top 4 teams.
Absolutely. I mean, they'll have Tennessee at home. They'll go to Mississippi State, but I think it's a very doable goal for Arkansas. Again, there's a lot of factors not in their control, but the biggest thing right now is that I want to see them get aggressive offensively. A big part of Arkansas's offense, get to the rim and finish. That time, Spencer was able to do it.
That's what Spencer's done so well. Fletcher had scored on the other end. Boston trying to show the range. Saxton hanging in the air. Can't get the putback, but tipped it back for Fletcher.
And Eric, I say that Arkansas needs to box out. That time it didn't matter. I wish everyone could have seen where Saxton took off from and how high she got in order to get that offensive rebound.
Arkansas gets the steal. Spencer. Barnum trying to get Boston to leave her feet, would not. Went off the official, so the ball's still in play. And now it's a backcourt violation.
There's height, there's athleticism, and there's want to, and that's been Victoria Saxton's career in a nutshell. This young lady just relentless on the glass to go pursue and get her team a second chance opportunity.
Beal almost ended up in the South Carolina bench, and they're laughing on the bench after Bree lost her footing, but got it back, and then it's blocked out of bounds. Tishi and me here going with the casual look, and yeah, they're ready to go with the catch for Bree Beal as she prevented the wipeout. The handoff to Fletcher. Another offensive rebound for South Carolina. Another second chance opportunity.
And I think it's important for Arkansas right now. Barnum just needs to stay on the floor for this ball club. Those 2 fouls really hurt them in the first half. They were only down 33-19. I say only, but still, they were definitely in shot of that. And then she goes to the bench, and you just kind of saw they didn't click as well on either end of the floor.
Daniels brings it up. She's playing with 3 fouls. Daniels steps back, can't get the 3. Here's Cook. Daniels trying to slow her down. Cook gets the handle back, and now South Carolina will set up. Boston can't get it on the drive, can't get the follow. Third time is the charm. And Aaliyah Boston, they've just posted it, a 10th rebound, so Aaliyah Boston is now number 1 on the all-time double-doubles list at South Carolina. But at South Carolina, they don't wait around to make an announcement or anything. They keep going. 73 double-doubles and counting for Aaliyah Boston, and Zaya Cook gets called for the foul. I mean, the rebounds piling up quickly for Boston on this trip right here.
Well, so that was 9. And then I think they must have given that one for number 10. So not the most picturesque to set the record, but bottom line is hats off to this young lady on a tremendous career that is nowhere near being towards the end of completion yet.
So Sheila Foster in the building here today. Shared the record for a brief time with Aaliyah Boston. Daniels off the mark. There is Sheila with a smile.
That's pride.
It's okay to be number 2 to Aaliyah Boston. So for Aaliyah Boston, that's 13 this season, 73 career double-doubles, and 5 in a row. Cook. Another good take by Zaya Cook. 24 points for her on 8 of 10 shooting, and she's 4 for 5 from outside the three-point line as well.
And Eric, this is against Michaela Daniels, one of the best defenders in the SEC. So, I mean, when you talk about Zaya Cook being in the zone, it's an understatement right now.
Emery Ellis into the game for the first time for Arkansas. Knocked away by Fletcher. Riley Langerman in the game for the Razorbacks. I think the takeaway right now from Arkansas, you can look at the scoreboard, but I think we can agree, this is not the true representation of how good Arkansas has been this year. They went to Creighton, got a victory. They are just in such a tough part of their schedule, already playing LSU twice. Beal, no. And it's picked up by Langerman. This is a team that led LSU. They fell behind by 14, 20-6 to LSU in the first quarter, but punched back and kept fighting all game long. Took the lead in the fourth quarter, but couldn't hold on in that environment down in Baton Rouge.
I mean, Eric, I think just the transition defense is a great example of how you just see they're just a little slow today, and that's not a critique. That is just wear and tear of a long week.
It's an explanation. You're not making excuses. It's just explaining things. and you're also running into a team that is on a roll. Sheila Foster giving way to Aaliyah Boston, who is now #1 all-time, double-doubles at South Carolina. College Game Day will be at Thompson Bowling Arena. We remember the scene here last year when College Game Day was at South Carolina. They'll be there for UConn and Tennessee as that great rivalry is renewed. And if you kind of lost track of Tennessee in the national picture, they got off to a slow start this year because they played a brutal schedule. They have come on, certainly as of late, as Tennessee has stretched a winning streak to 8 to be one of 3 teams that are 7-0 in the SEC, along with South Carolina and LSU. Good drive by Jersey Wolfenbarger out of the timeout.
I mean, Eric, I'm really excited for that matchup. I mean, first of all, I expect the Lady Vol Nation to come out and support Game Day. But how will UConn try to defend Rakia Jackson? I think Jordan Horston's decision-making is going to be put on display. She's got to be able to take care of the ball for the Lady Vols. And then how does Tennessee try to slow Aaliyah Edwards? No Tamari Key for them. How will the bigs of Tennessee respond against one of the best post players in the nation?
Well, UConn's won 10 in a row, but you know the UConn story. They right now have 7 players. We'll see what happens as this week goes along. Huskies have DePaul on Monday, and then they'll be in Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Now, Tennessee has their hands full today with Missouri. Lady Vols have gone on a 7-0 run to go in front of Mizzou, playing in Como. So Mizzou was just up by 5 a moment ago. Jackson's been outstanding coming off the bench for Tennessee. There comes Cardoso into the game as Saxton will check out.
Where you mentioned Tennessee's tough non-conference schedule. That's why I feel like they're hitting their stride now. They've learned so many valuable lessons, and it's why South Carolina is always ready for March, because of their really difficult schedule.
Cardoso, another offensive rebound for South Carolina. They have 23 offensive rebounds. Arkansas has 1. Boston on the defensive glass. Beal out to Fletcher. I think a familiar scene is playing out for Dawn Staley in South Carolina. A beautiful find there as Fletcher will go to the free throw line. Saw that against Vanderbilt the other night with South Carolina in control. The starters were on the floor for the opening minutes. Good stretch of time in the third quarter. South Carolina, they have to find those moments like they did against Vanderbilt. And today, let's have our starting group together a little bit longer, because you got to get ready for what's to come down the line here if you're Dawn Staley. With UConn February 5th, LSU here on February 12th. That's a game that's been circled on the calendar, everyone's calendar, for a while now. They've got a trip to Ole Miss and a trip to Tennessee as well. Don't forget about Ole Miss. Winning streak is 25. Their last loss was in the SEC Tournament Championship game to Kentucky in Nashville last March.
Well, Eric, we talked a lot about the depth of South Carolina. It's the versatility of players, and Dawn Staley calls it a luxury. I call it a huge margin of error. And when you talk about getting ready to play a UConn, a Tennessee, an LSU, well, that margin of error shrinks some. And so that's why she's consistently looking at the combinations of substitutions, of who's playing well in terms of which defenses, how, and they're doing things. Like, she's figured out which group she wants to press with. Now it's a matter of just kind of honing all that in.
And the one thing, too, that no one can control, but it's been a huge part of the story in college basketball this year, is staying healthy. We've seen so many teams fielding 7. UConn is going through that right now, as we just talked about. AZ Fudd will be unable to play against Tennessee as she's dealing with the problem. We know all about what's happening with Paige Beckers. As Cardoso comes through at the free throw line. Arkansas is without one of their top players, Sasha Goforth, for this season, who's redshirting this season, who was a fixture in the starting lineup a year ago. Everybody, it seems, has been hit by injuries in South Carolina, hoping that it's the case that they can be one of those teams that avoids it as Spencer knocks it down for 3.
Well, I mean, injuries have hit South Carolina. It's just you don't really notice it because of the depth. Cooper not playing here this afternoon with a lower leg injury, and that's just the quality depth that Dawn Staley has developed with this ball club.
Zia Cook says, my fault, taps her chest as she throws it away. Letitia Ami here will come into the game. Raven Johnson will check in as well. Boston staying on the floor for the moment as Cook and Beal head off. If it's the day for Zia Cook, it was quite the day. 24 points, 3 assists, was 8 of 11 from the field, 4 for 5 from outside the three-point line.
I think Dawn Staley's talking to her about the turnover right now.
You mean Dawn's getting like a little jab in here?
You got to keep them sharp. Got to keep them sharp.
Zia right now is laughing and talking. It's Dawn who's maybe saying that's going to be the very first thing that we put on game film coming up on Monday. We're going to show you that turnover. I mean, Dawn usually has a little swagger. I mean, when you're Dawn Staley, you can do that. But after the performance for her beloved Philadelphia Eagles last night, she was walking on air walking into shoot-around this morning. Johnson finds Cardoso, the big on the run. And she'll head to the free throw line. I got 2 things to point out here. We're going to talk the shoes and the shirts because Dawn, well, you know, Dawn's got the great shoes. She also wants to make sure she knows who the officials are. That's what's taped on the floor. We have had a few questions about the wee back pat shirts that South Carolina has because it's like, well, why is it the pad upside down? You got to look closer. Open your mind a little bit. Let your eyes.
Let me stop you. I had to tell Eric to open his mind. I had to tap into his artsy side.
Right, if you see their shirt, look closely behind the PAT, the black. There's
two
PAT
Pats
spread out in white, and there's also, you know, the Pat's famous eyes.
Yes.
In that middle A there as well. So, there we got a little freeze. I mean, this may be where you and I differ. I appreciate art.
I do too. I appreciate that I could explain it to you.
and I thank you. You talked about the injuries. Guess who's back from an injury? And making a loud announcement that she's back. Sanaya Fagan did not play the last 4. Her last game was January 5th, and she comes in and adds to the block party.
She's back.
8 blocks now for South Carolina. And Fagan's going to get called for the foul.
And I like that take by Erin Barnum. Realizes she's got the younger player on her, hesitates, and then gets into her to draw the foul.
Chloe Kitts also into the game for South Carolina, the freshman. There you see Chloe, who joined South Carolina as an early enrollee December 13th after graduating from high school early. We like to look at it as like an internship. This is about the best internship you can get if you're Chloe Kitts. As South Carolina continues to add to their lead. Final minute of quarter 3. Spencer. Picked up by Fagan.
And this is just where you just see the cut's not as sharp or as quick, and so the spacing's not there. And that's why Barnum turned the ball over. Too much help side defense there. She tried to penetrate.
Shot clock and game clock just about synced up, so South Carolina will hold for a final shot. Johnson, who just got that last bucket for the Gamecocks, feeds it to Cardoso, picked up by Kitts. Still time here as Fagan doesn't matter who's on the floor, they're going to contribute to the #1 team in the country. South Carolina outscored Arkansas 24-10 in the third. They are up 43 after 3.
Welcome back to Columbia, where the Gamecocks came into the game 4th in the nation offensive rebounds. Already with 24, they have been persistent. They've been diligent. And Eric, the scary part is that everyone's gotten in on the action. Multiple players getting their own misses and putting it back up, staying with it, being persistent to give South Carolina a huge lead in this game.
You see the score. which is impressive. I think even more impressive, the rebounding totals. 56 for South Carolina, 9 total rebounds for Arkansas, plus 47 in margin. You can be speechless. It's okay. I mean, you get paid the same.
Well, I mean, part of it is absolutely the athleticism and height of South Carolina. I do think this looks like a fatigued Arkansas team here this afternoon as well.
Here's Carr. First possession of the fourth quarter. Carr tries for 3. Can't get it. Cardozo's got the rebound. Out to Raven Johnson.
Raven Johnson just has another gear when the ball's in her hands.
She's someone who had to sit out just about all of last year after suffering an ACL injury at South Dakota in November. Played 8 minutes in 2 games, but you can really tell her confidence continues to grow. And me here won't get it. Cardozo, guess what? Rebounds on the offensive glass. Camila Cardozo has 15 total rebounds, 8 on the offensive end. Aaliyah Boston, 14 total rebounds, 7 on the offensive end. Second one to come. Well, LSU, Tennessee, and South Carolina, the 3 remaining undefeateds beginning play here today. LSU playing tomorrow on the SEC Network. You'll get a chance to see Angel Reese and the third-ranked Tigers take on Alabama, a team that can make shots. Alabama's a team that you have to be careful about, and LSU will get back in action 7 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. Take a look at the standings with LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee in a tight one in the fourth quarter with Missouri. Alabama 4-2 in the conference. Dowda travel.
And Eric, with that last free throw, Cardozo 2 straight double-doubles. 10 points, 15 rebounds against Vandy. Same thing to this point in the game tonight.
Kids will check out as you see Cardozo always with a smile. Every time you look up, she's smiling.
If I had 15 rebounds at this point in the game, I'd be smiling
if you
too.
had 10 and 15 in back-to-back games, you wouldn't stop smiling. Fagan tried to spin. Bree Hall. Hall was fouled.
Mike Neighbors is wanting to. He thought there was a travel there. One official was about to call it, but the other official had the foul first.
Bree Hall at the free throw line for South Carolina. You know, the other thing too about South Carolina, we talked about some of their games in the non-conference schedule. That game against Stanford that went to overtime. Bree Hall is someone that Dawn Staley rolled with. She had 12 points in 22 minutes, a couple of threes in the overtime period. I think that's one of the things that has really helped with South Carolina. To your point, they've got the depth, they've got the talented depth, but you can look at just about every box score and point out when somebody made a winning contribution who you wouldn't expect to when you take a look at who their starting 5 is or their main rotational pieces. But that rotation's pretty big for South Carolina this year. There's Cardozo back to the line.
Well, Dawn was telling us today, you know, unfortunately, injuries have also helped in the development of certain players. She thinks that while Fagan was out, Watkins made huge steps for this program. You know, it's a player that Dawn has admitted, I need to try to give her more minutes. And you know, you can have a bench. I got to tell you, it is one of the hardest things to balance, not just egos and get them to buy in, but also when and where you should make substitutions. And that is something that even for a coach, you need those reps in games to figure that out. And that's why, like, honestly, I kind of was like shocked and scared because I knew what I had seen on film, but when Dawn Staley says, yes, my team is getting better and better, and this is the number 1 team in the country that we keep seeing the margin of victory that they've had, it's kind of a scary admission moving forward.
So that's going to be it for Camila Cardozo. 12 points, 16 rebounds. As Christy mentioned, second straight double-double after her 10 and 15 performance in Nashville on Thursday. as Ashlyn Watkins comes back into the game. Daniels steps back for three.
And this has been a long afternoon for Arkansas, obviously, but I can't say enough about what Michaela Daniels has done throughout her career. It's somewhat unfortunate that she's in the same class as Zia Cook and Aaliyah Boston, because this young lady has started every game she's played in, and she's just been a solid call. I almost call her grandma, because it just seems like she's been out there forever.
That's a term of endearment,
yes.
Michaela. Pulls for another three. That won't go, and now Sanaya Fagan wants to show her handle. Fagan showing her handle. Couldn't get it to drop. Now back the other way. Barnum shows her handle. Dowda for two.
Two trips in a row by both teams where the posts are leading the break.
Inside of 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, it has been all South Carolina. They are on top by 8 after the first quarter, 29 at halftime. They've been dominating on the glass, as they have been all season long. Second in Division I in rebounding margin. And Ami here will head back to the free throw line. Next up for Arkansas, well, they'll be happy to know they're not playing top 5 teams like they have the last 2 games, but good teams. They do have Alabama on Thursday, then Ole Miss next Sunday.
Eric, that game Thursday against Alabama, I mean, we could see upwards of 60 to 73s being shot in that game between the two teams.
Now, Alabama's leading the league in three-pointers attempted, usually plays for Mike Neighbors' team, but I think they just want to get home and have a couple of days just to find the reset button here after such a busy week.
An emotional week. The high of the game winner on Monday, and then the low of being so close to upsetting LSU on their home floor.
Barnum on the spin and the finish. A chance for a three-point play for Aaron Barnum.
There's no quitting the veteran Aaron Barnum. Spin move, gets by Fagan and gets into her body to draw the foul and the and one.
It's a good balanced team. Barnum leading the way with the 16 points a game. And we talked about them playing LSU twice. What did you see for Arkansas, their improvement from the first LSU meeting to the second LSU meeting where they almost took down the Tigers in Baton Rouge?
Well, I thought they did it to begin the game. I thought they did a better job on Angel Reese. Angel Reese got a lot of her points, second chance opportunities, and in transition. I also thought they shared the ball better. I thought the game plan was great offensively. They spread the floor, and they let Barnum go to work, and she responded in a big way.
20.7 rebounds for Aaron Barnum. Tie up, jump ball will keep it with South Carolina. So this is part of the versatility for the South Carolina team, because Letitia Ami here is now playing the one. And she'll feed it down low to Fagan.
Have I mentioned the versatility of Letitia Ami here? I mean, she can score, she can defend. I mean, when I think it's unfair is when Letitia Ami here starts defending a smaller point guard on the other team, as we see right here, because of her wingspan and what she can do on the defensive end. But I can never say enough good things about what Ami here brings to this program.
Hands it off to Kitts. Now Bree Hall. Looking inside for Watkins. Fagan. Ami here on the drive. Good defense and an offensive foul called on Letitia Ami here. Dowda taking the contact. That'll get us to our media timeout. 4:54 to go in the fourth. Number 1, South Carolina rolling in Columbia. We Back Pat Week continues in the SEC as we continue here in Columbia. Great words from Tamika Catchings, who was a great part of that success. Brought her intensity that, as you know, Christy, is someone who is an enormous fan of Pat Summitt. That intensity, that drive, that desire to be the best and win championships. You didn't have to be a Tennessee fan to be impacted by that, or a Tennessee player, or someone on the staff to be impacted by that. You could always see it. Good drive and take by Watkins.
Well, I always say where we are in this day and age with the state of all women's athletics, we owe to Pat. She was fighting for what she believed could be, and we're seeing it here today way before everyone else. So always we back Pat.
Ellis from the outside can't get it. Ashlyn Watkins is playing with just one shoe right now, so it's shorthanded South Carolina. 4-on-5 as Watkins comes back. There she is trying to get the shoe back on, and doesn't matter. Fagan finishes.
Short-handed, short-footed. Which one there?
Short-shoed.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. Ooh, Watkins behind the back while on the floor. She gets tangled up. Hall on the run, no. Fagan rips down another offensive rebound. The rebounding margin continues to grow. It is now plus 54 in favor of 19-0 South Carolina en route to 20-0 Ohio State. Playing on Monday, trying to stay undefeated. Taking on Iowa. That'll be a good one to track tomorrow. Some great games coming up this week as Watkins tried to get it up top, sticks with it, and gets it to go.
Yeah, you wonder how many points are going to be put up tomorrow in Iowa, Ohio State.
You want to give me a number?
I think it's going to be in the 80s.
I think you're right. Ooh, Samara Spencer. How about that? Goes on the merry-go-round and gets the hoop. Spencer leading the way with 13 points for Arkansas. And Fagan got tangled up with Wolfenbarger. They play on. Spencer for two more. So Samara Spencer continues to work. 7 of 13 from the field for Spencer. Approaching 2 minutes to go. Kitts works with the Fagan screen. And knocked out of bounds, last touched by South Carolina. Well, we're getting closer and closer to February 12th. That's the collision course. South Carolina and LSU, two top teams in the SEC, 1 and 3 in the national rankings. Here is right now the tale of the tape.
Well, two great offenses, two great defenses, and two teams who rebound the ball extremely well. And I know everyone wants to see Angel Reese versus Aaliyah Boston. I don't think those two will be matched up against one another very much. And I really believe it's everyone else around it that's going to make a difference in this game. And Eric, I think the turnover battle will be something to watch in that game as well.
Rebounded by Watkins, and Dawn Staley is going to take a timeout to get Olivia Thompson into the game. We'll take our final timeout as well with 1:38 to go. In the fourth quarter, South Carolina closing in on win 20. Well, big week in college basketball, certainly the marquee matchup for longtime fans of college hoop. I know we've got
as he looks
Iowa
at me,
Ohio State, long time, but looks so young. It is Tennessee and it is UConn on Thursday. We'll get it going with College Game Day in Thompson Bowling Arena. That should be a fantastic atmosphere and environment for the game day crew, but also you get UConn and Tennessee, the history. Two teams on a roll. UConn's won 10 in a row. Tennessee has won 8 in a row, but Tennessee's winning streak is on the line right now. Missouri up by 3 in the final minute against the Lady Vols. Dauda on the drive. No. Kept alive by Langerman, but only for the moment. Final minute here at Colonial Life Arena. Ami here will direct traffic. So South Carolina will improve to 20-0 on the season, 8-0 in the SEC. LSU will take on Alabama tomorrow night. See if they can keep pace at top the SEC standings. A me here on the turnaround is short. Batted back out for a me here. And another rebound, an offensive rebound for South Carolina. They are a plus 56 in rebound margin. They have 73 total rebounds today.
Eric, in 4 years of college ball, I don't think I had 73 rebounds.
Me here, strong drive to the basket for 2. Kids got tangled up. Langerman will launch a 3. That won't drop in, and one final rebound for South Carolina here today. An impressive performance again for South Carolina. They doubled up Vanderbilt on Thursday. They double up Arkansas here today. 94-46 the final score. 74 total rebounds for the number 1 team in the country.
The rebounding performance was amazing, but so was the defense. They held one of the top free throw shooting teams in the nation to only 9 attempts.
Zia Cook with 24 points to lead South Carolina in scoring. Aaliyah Boston, a big part of the story as always. Another double-double. She had 13 points, 14 rebounds for her 73rd career double-double. We'll talk with Aaliyah when we get you back, but now we take you to the studio. Well, we are with Aaliyah Boston, who has set a record here at South Carolina. Congratulations. That's
Thank
73.
you.
Did you know, like sometimes you'll come up, oh, I didn't know that was, you knew today.
Yeah.
This one, you know, I appreciate the honesty, Aaliyah.
Yes.
Well, now that you've accomplished it, what does it mean to you to be the record holder at South Carolina?
I mean, it's really special because, you know, I mean, coming in, that wasn't really my goal. I didn't even know that there was a record for it. And so to be able to break it, especially on the home floor, it's just a blessing from God.
You know, I think you do remember your first ever double-double
Yes.
here, right?
Yes.
Because it was a triple-double in your collegiate debut, so that counts too. But what was the difference here today? You knew rebounding has always been something that you guys do so well, and you ended up today with, what was the total? 74 total rebounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
It is. And Coach, she just emphasized crashing the boards, just using our length, using our size to attack the glass every game. And so we knew coming in that this wasn't anything different. And so I just wanted to make sure that I'm also crashing the boards.
Well, Aaliyah, I'm going to step aside here, and I need you to be the analyst because we're about to watch
Oh, gosh.
the offensive
Break
rebounds.
it down, Aaliyah.
Oh, gosh, no.
Break it down.
Take over for us, Aaliyah.
So this is Aaliyah on the drive. I'll do play-by-play.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, but here it is. It's okay.
Oh, yes. Oh, no. Is that like your narrative in
like,
real
oh,
time
no.
in your head? Yeah.
Come on, make it. But you know what? It worked out great, so I'm okay with it.
You should be.
Aaliyah, a big part is just how you pursue those rebounds. To any young player out there, can you tell them like just how important it is? I mean, it's persistence. It's obviously athleticism.
Yes.
But there's a knack that you have in terms of where the ball is going. Can you kind of talk to anyone out there about that?
I can't give away all my secrets before they start plotting. But, I mean, it's just about knowing, like, your teammates, getting a feel for that. You know, just being in the right spot, reading it. I mean, I look at where the rebound's coming off as it's, like, in the air. And then sometimes I do a little zigzag, hit them with the, like, 1-2 combo. But, I mean, that's just really what I try to do and just keep going because it's something that we value here, just rebounding, attack the glass. And so I just want to make sure I continue to do that as well as my teammates because they're also doing a great job.
Where is this team right now? Your coach talks about being more connected and getting better. And do you feel that as well? Because you've played so much, you know what it feels like when things are clicking.
I definitely do.
Seems they're just clicking right now.
I was actually talking to Zia on the bench, and I was like, I think we're playing great team basketball. Like, I think we're moving the ball. I think defensively, like, we're there. We have rotations, help side rotations, and I think we're playing, like, really great basketball, and I think it's at the perfect time, halfway through conference, if that, I don't even know. But, you know, just continue to play team ball. That was something that we wanted to emphasize when we started. It was kind of like, you know, we're getting there, but I think that we've progressed so well over the season.
Well, Leah, to this point, obviously undefeated, but you've got 3 big games coming up.
Yes.
And you said it, we're getting better and better to run the course here. what's it going to take? Like, what's that area of improvement you guys need to do with those 3 big games coming up?
Again, don't give up secrets. We got you.
I think overall we can improve everywhere just because that's how we want to develop. We want to be that defensive threat, that offensive threat. Just continuing to move the ball, I think, is going to be a priority for us, just ball movement, because I do think we're taking good shots and the right shots. So as long as we stay on that track, that's going to be great. And also defensively, just giving everybody a hard time, making it hard for people to catch the ball, to make shots. We want them to, feel us instead of feeling the comfort of their shots. So, going into each game, that's really our focus, just continue to be strong. And I think we're doing great.
And you did reveal a secret, because if you throw it up there and you miss, it's oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. So thank you for sharing that. We know a little bit more about Aaliyah Boston, who did it again today. Double-double, 73 in her career.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Thank you. Back to the studio.